And so this lady starts ranting about how we're in the middle of a damn war. The last thing we need is Krakoan refugees, proving that even in a society that makes it clear there is no personal property, you're going to have NIMBY assholes. We are Arakko Public Radio, your favorite casual X-Men chat show. This is episode 50. I'm that nerdy Papa Bear, and this is the man who probably didn't actually read any comics this week because the new Red Rising book has consumed him completely. My one and only Omega Mutant Keegan. Hey, bud.
Hey, bud. How you doing?
How many pages in are you?
On Lightbringer, I am 400 out of 678.
Okay, so I might have you back by next week. I might be
probably. Yeah, I mean, if I have anything to say about it, I'll be done by Sunday.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. In this episode, we're talking all the comics that came out the week of August 2nd. So that's X-Men 25, the supersized X-Men 25, Astonishing Ice-Man #1, and Magneto #1, plus a little bit of Scarlet Witch in Around the Marvel Universe. But first, we are proving that we have friends. Because this is the second episode in a row we have a guest. Welcome our Discord buddy, Lance.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
I'm Lance.
I am so excited to have another first-time guest. We've been hitting the well with the same handful of people for a while. We harass every guest with the same 3 questions. So, Lance, who are you? When did you discover your love of X-Men? And how invested in Krakoa are you?
Okay, who am I? I am just a little guy.
A scamp, yeah.
That is how I describe myself. If you look in my Discord about me, that's been my summary since they were at it 3 years ago.
You guys are cornering me here.
Yeah. So this is pre-Gambits discussions.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny that you landed on your own.
Yeah. Okay. How'd I get into the X-Men? Growing up, I'd see Evolution reruns on my TV. And they were it was really fun. I love a superhero team in school. I love students. I love them being superheroes. I think it's a good dynamic to have. Eventually, I watched the Fox movies. They were good. Less good now that I know the source material.
That's fair.
And then in 2015, 2016-ish, somewhere around my sophomore year of high school, I started reading the comics. Fell off when I graduated. Got super into it about a year and a half ago when I was like, well, I got nothing to do. Let me see what I can read with the X-Men. Reignite some old flames, Heard about House of X Empires of 10. Read it. Obsessively read until I caught up everything from the Krakoan age. And now I am very invested in it, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Krakoa is such a hard thing to just dip your toes in. You're either going to be all in or you avoid it, yeah.
The only thing I haven't read is 3 issues of Lethal Legion and the number 5 of Rogue and Gambit. But that's because I've been busy.
If you're going to skip 2 minis, I feel like those are both very safe ones
they're safe ones to skip.
To fall behind on or miss completely. So excited to hear you're a fan of the school and the school era because one of the books we're going to talk about is revisiting a very specific era of the school. So I'm excited to hear your thoughts on it when we get to it.
Yes. I'll admit, Academy X is my favorite teen group because they were the first one that I read. So I guess that is what I have an attachment to.
We can't control who we're nostalgic for, but that's a lucky one to have because they're a good group.
Yeah. Lucky is a word choice you can use on them for sure.
I try to be generous in this segment.
Yeah,
I'll be less generous in the comic discussion.
Yeah, that's not the adjective I'd give them.
Well, we'll get to the school when we get to Magneto, but you guys okay talking X-Men first?
Let's do it.
Because we got a triple-sized issue. I didn't realize that Hellfire was going to keep giving. This was a 55-page issue. X-Men 23, written by Gerry, Duggan, drawn by Stefano, Caselli, opens with a flashback to Kate meeting with her rabbi in the early days of Krakoa and her discovery that she's the only mutant who can't use the gates. Kate does a less than convincing job telling her, I still believe in God. Smash cut to Kate visiting the X-Mansion a few hours after the gala. She retrieves her swords, apparently hidden there for years, and an ominous note from Duggan reminding her she will always be Shadowkat, but with a K this time. Dr. Stasis gives a press conference a few weeks after the gala and gives the same spiel we've heard versions of and we expected. The mutants are the terrorists, the medicine was poison, and Orcus is going to save you all. They apparently left the gates up as a reminder to people that they can't be used anymore. He references Captain Krakoa as still out there as a threat and lists a couple other threats that mean Orcus has to remain vigilant. We see Fei Long meeting with the president, who justifies the continued rounding up of mutants in what are basically internment camps because of an impending Iraqi invasion. We also meet the War Machines, which are giant sentinels guarding Arakko and its moons. In the mutant gulag, Dr. Stasis tortures Cyclops. He tries to convince him to get the rest of the mutants to leave, but Cyclops resists with a nice FU. In the new X-Men safe house in the Morlock tunnels, Synch, Talon, Shadowkat, Emma, Rasputin, and Miss Marvel meet. Kate is in her new blue ninja garb, as seen on the cover, and the others worry she's doing too much. Synch tries to convince her to play it easy, as she's essential as the only one who can use the gates. She visits Arakko and is seen by Woofer, who we saw captured and relocated to Arakko while Stasis was giving his speech. She recruits him to take a census for her. She needs to find the big guns, like Polaris, Sunfire, and Forge. Speaking of Forge, we see him stranded on an unknown world as he realizes the gates being compromised means the vault is open, which was really frustrating how that was literally just an ad for the Children of the Vault book. We get a flashback to Emma taking Miss Marvel home after the gala. She's rewritten everyone's memories so no one mourns the loss of Kamala. She also has reversed her opinion from earlier in the night. Kamala should keep her mutant identity a secret for her safety and her family's safety. In the present, we learn not only did Kamala ignore her and join the mutant resistance, but Emma is still sour over it. We see a rendezvous of the Unity Squad and Synch's team of X-Men, and at the end, Emma stays back with Kate and begs her to tell her what happened, referencing the scene at the end of the gala where she fell through the gate. We finally get that flashback, which is basically a deeply traumatized Kate massacring an entire Orcus platoon. She phases grenades into two dudes' chests. One begs for mercy, proclaiming he was saved by the X-Men on the Bloom, which was in issue 18, you nerds. Kate assures him that's what the X-Men do, save everyone, then snaps his neck. Ashamed those X-Men are dead. In the present day, she assures Emma that nothing is wrong, but that she is going to kill Firestar. I don't know about you two. Keegan, we last week were down on the gala. This to me was big Duggan redemption. I loved this.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. It was really good.
I read this on my lunch break, surrounded by people who know nothing about comics. I had to keep it all inside. I wanted to scream.
Oh, I can't do that. Like my poor wife, my very sweet wife, puts up with me just, oh my god, this happened. She has no idea the context, but she's just like, I'm happy for you that you're enjoying it, and that's the perfect energy for me because, yeah,
it was so good.
This was scene after scene of just blowing my mind.
Absolutely.
It was crazy how good this was. Oh my god.
Does Woofer still being on Earth mean he's like an elite of the elite, like resistor?
I listened to the Cerebro's a free episode.
Right.
Duggan explained that if mutants were too far away to get to a gate in that amount of time, they did before Xavier's control wore off. They didn't go through a gate. So I'm guessing Woofer was just like in New Jersey or something, and they don't have a gate there.
Okay.
I think that works enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's sloppy, but I mean, at least he's explained it.
If you give it Xavier was doing that for like 10 minutes ish, it makes sense that all of the Krakoans would have fled because
right, because they're on the island where all
that's full of gates.
Yeah,
but yeah, like if you're in Montana.
Like, how many gates are in Montana, you know?
Right, that's actually a fair point.
So really, this is him saying fuck you to Chicago, because that's where he ends up picked up, right? Because he has the spiel in this issue. He's like, I'm not even from Krakow, I'm from Chicago. So apparently, Duggan has it out for Chicago, saying the third biggest city in the country didn't have gates nearby.
Damn.
Dang.
That's cold.
It's cold-blooded, but hey, Chicago, man.
I do appreciate that tidbit. I won't get into why I have not listened to that episode of Cerebro, but I appreciate the insight for sure.
I listened to it last night.
Hey, good timing.
Yeah. I didn't have time to listen to this whole the whole drop you guys did. I listened to episode 1 and episode 5 with Meg.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then I got to like halfway through episode 2. Yeah.
It was
I'll
a lot
get to
all at once. I will say I am shocked, and this is only slightly off topic. The middle one is the most listened to currently. Episode 47 is currently our most listened to episode ever, and that was the one in the middle of that batch of episodes. I don't know who out of you guys are just skipping around, but we still love you.
What comics was that?
Yeah, now I'm curious.
Oh, let me see if I've got it pulled up.
Now
I don't even remember the top. There's X-Men 13, Rogan Gambit 5, and X-Force 42. So not even super important issues.
No, not at all.
Well,
it is what it is.
Rogan Gambit 5 has my boy Manifold.
That's true.
That's, very fair.
It's crazy how quickly he jumped to like my top 15 mutants.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're a big Manifold guy. Okay.
He's
he is pretty awesome. Guy. He's pretty sick. I'm currently floating in stasis coffin somewhere.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to pull the trigger and check out his gun eventually.
He's gonna bring Ileana and Danny and them back from Asgard.
I think he's gonna be bringing everyone back from we saw Forge is in some unknown location alone. So however scattered they are, they're all gonna find their way home together, most likely. Good old Manifold.
Speaking of, you're telling me Forge didn't have the resist thing going on?
That's a good point. I would think that Forge would have the red triangle defense on lock.
I think who knew who had red triangle going and who didn't was more of a convenience factor for where they needed them to be in Fall of X. If you needed to be on Earth, you were good at it, and if they needed you somewhere else, you didn't have it on lock.
I do like oh god, this is just talking about the Hellfire Gala again because I thought a lot of it was really good.
You wanted on last week to defend it, and we didn't have time to fit you in. So if you want to do some defense of the Hellfire Gala, now is your shot.
I agree. I appreciate the attempt Duggan has made over the last year to try to make Orcus set up all these little threats or whatever. I see the attempt there. That's my one quote unquote. That's my biggest gripe with it is that I just don't see Orcus as that big of a threat. They need bigger guns, but
it's good.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, I left that episode saying I really hoped that these Fall of X issues, in hindsight, made me appreciate what the gala did more. And so far, I'd say they're doing that.
I'm just like, if I can imagine a world where Orcus was a bigger threat and I could buy them doing this, the fallout is really good.
I don't want to jump ahead to Iceman, but it does seem like they're nerfing characters to make the Orcus threat more believable as well.
Mm-hmm.
By saying, "Oh, Bobby can't leave for very long." That's a nice, convenient way to say "Oh, he's out of the running for being just soloing Orcus."
Yep. Okay, back to 25.
Yeah, we could jump right back into 25. Kate's arc. Just so amazing, and I'm so glad that Duggan gets to do it because we get pulls from Marauders, meeting the Susan, was that her name? The same rabbi from his run. Great to see that interaction. It was clearly not long after the previous. I think was it the very first Marauders? It was in the first arc of Marauders that we saw her having a similar conversation on the same bench, most likely a few days before the conversation we saw here. So. I love that throwback. I loved the way they rolled out the flashback because they could have done this sequentially and opened the issue with her Breaking Bad essentially, but I think showing her picking up the swords afterwards, her 2 weeks later already just shutting herself off to everyone, and then seeing her actually have the snap happen made it so much more powerful. I both was rooting the hell for her and tearing up a little at losing her innocence in a way. Like we saw her just completely break in this issue in such a powerful way that I would almost argue was more powerful than the gala itself, even though the gala had so much more going on, because it was this intimate exploration of her and
Yes.
what it did to her
Absolutely.
psyche.
I mean, I thought that the way it was set up was so good, and it made that final snap, which was the first snap, but the final snap,
Yeah.
really, really hit harder because of it.
Yeah. Kitty's she was in the original Mutant Massacre.
Yeah.
She went through the bullet thing, and she wasn't at Genosha, but she lost her dad there, and she recently had a whole
Got to finally
Yeah,
avenge him. Yeah. Yeah,
and,
I guess
that was,
innocence is the wrong word, but
that was like
losing a
catharsis
newfound
moment for
innocence,
her.
yeah. Like
And
she was
now
in a really
this-
good place, it seemed.
Yeah, so the panel where she snaps the Orcus guy's neck and she's like crying and angry, I was like, oh my god, girl. It was so good. Oh,
Yeah.
that whole sequence.
I mean,
love
the litany of things that she did in that sequence was, I was like,
The body horror.
oh, yeah.
Oh, like, yeah,
So-
that's a ninja.
when they revealed the costume, though, when they revealed the that like very first, I don't remember which Comic-Con it was, but that was one of their slides, was showing the cover to this issue and announcing that she was taking back the Shadowkat name and going ninja again. They showed the new character design. I was so confident that that the fact that it's Shadowkat with a K now would like have a plot reasoning, but no, just apparently Ogun just called her that in the note. So
Yeah.
I'm still confused by that because she always was Shadowkat with a C. So apparently Ogun just typoed and she runs with it.
I was fine with it because I grew up with Evolution, so Shadowkat is the code name I was used to her having. So when I got into the comics and it was just like Kitty, I was like, huh? Hey,
Does the show spell it with a C or a K though?
a C.
Yeah,
the K is
see?
new.
I don't understand.
But-
I don't get.
Red Queen is finally like really a fitting name right now with how bloody she's going. And
she drops the name right as she kind of actually lives up to it.
Yeah, because her fighting in that little pirate, I love a battle at a party where everybody's like dressed up and they're fighting in their little outfits. So seeing her just kick absolute ass in that outfit was so. I was just like, oh, it was so. I was losing it. I went crazy.
I think we're gonna get more of those this month too. Like I think
With Realms of X.
I think that's what all of these books are gonna do. Is that the story is 2 weeks later, but we're gonna keep getting flashbacks to Night of, which should give us plenty more fight scenes in the gala outfits, hopefully.
Yeah,
there was some preview pages for Realms of X I saw today, where that crew is fighting on Asgard and they're still in their outfits. I'm like, yes,
Nice.
give this to me more.
I'm so excited for that book. I've been like fanboying out, chatting with Thor and Gronbeck, so I'm very excited to see what that issue does.
My most anticipated book of the Fall of X.
I think it's my most. It's either that or Uncanny Spider-Man. Those are the two that I'm definitely highest on.
Okay, Kurt is fine.
Oh, don't be a Kurt hater. Don't be a Gambit fan and a Kurt hater.
No, I like Kurt.
You're killing me.
He's just very much like, if he's your favorite character, you're from like Gen X.
That's fair.
Maybe you're also just a millennial.
I'm Gen Z, personally.
Is he your favorite, Keegan?
He's up there. Like obviously, like Forge and Fang, they're also my boys.
Like I feel like if you had me make a list of like 5, he's obviously on my list of like 5. But I don't think I'd ever call him like my favorite. Like that's definitely Laura's my like number 1 fave, and then like I don't know. But all right, I gotta do a little redeeming on myself.
Frenzy are mine.
Frenzy's a good call.
Oh, Frenzy, you have no idea. I went into the gala spoiler free. When they showed the full team, that it was actually surprise, it's all the winners, and then I flicked the page. Oh, Oh, Gerry Duggan, you will pay for your crimes.
Yeah. If he wasn't already, if he wasn't being genuine when he says like, "Oh, they're the team for the reason," they were the team for a reason. They're like implying that they'd be used at some point. Hopefully, he's been shamed enough now that he will change it so they are used for a reason. Like it would suck if that really was the only time that team's a team. Okay, another geeky one, but the new data page layouts with like looking like it's corrupted and shit. I love it. I love the actual graphic design for Fall of X.
Yes.
I think they've done it really well.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's a very subtle thing that like only those who like know, but it works so well.
Well, and I would say it's the least subtle it's been since the beginning, because most of the Krakoan events have had variations on it. And I feel like this is the biggest swing they've done, and I really appreciate the visuals. I liked it a lot. We heard that there would be a scene that would play out in all 3 of Duggan's books this month, and I think it's obvious now it's the one with the Unity Squad meeting up with the X-Men underground. Yeah. I don't know how you make that scene more interesting. I assume it'll be more of like what we saw here, where we see like each team's kind of debrief after they leave the actual meeting is what we're being seeing from every angle. But
I feel like that's got to be it.
Speaking of the sewer scenes, what do you guys think of like the new team for this era, for these 6 issues?
I'm not the biggest fan of Miss Marvel. I feel like it was sloppy to kind of have her rebuking the team and Emma begging her to join, and then as soon as shit goes really wrong, she decides to join up anyways. And like, I don't know that this is the place Kamala could do the most good is underground with the other mutants when no one knows she's a mutant. I feel like she could do more good on the Avenger side of things, just living her life as Miss Marvel and being a public figure in that way. And like if one of the drones decided to attack her and she is still publicly just an Avenger, she could have pulled something similar to what Tony pulled and be like, "Oh, you're going to attack like the most popular Avenger? Everyone loves me. I'm Miss Marvel." So I don't know that I buy her logic in joining up and living in the sewers with them and abandoning her family again, which has been one of my major issues all along.
Did she abandon them? I thought I sort of read it as she just goes there sometimes.
Yeah, you're right. That's definitely maybe not abandoning full time, but it still just seems weird that she's hanging out in the sewers.
But no, fully I agree. It's a weird spot for her to be. But like Talon, Sync, Rasputin, and Emma, and Shadowkat as like
yeah, the rest of the team I love. I think it's an amazing
impromptu team. It's really good.
It's a good team outside of the sloppiness of the Kamala stuff.
Yeah.
Which also
as the Black Ops team, I think it's an awesome team. It's more Black Ops than X-Force has been. Like it is the coolest Black Ops team we've had in a while.
Yeah. I also just think like the Kamala stuff, like I still think it's messy where it's like my parents will have pieced together by now that I am Miss Marvel. And it's like, yo, dog, you had like all of the Avengers at your funeral. Like
Yeah. I'm putting the blame on that one purely on Disney editorial.
It has
to be.
I don't think this is something the X office wanted. No. But it got dumped on them, and now they're like, well, she's part of the mutant revolution, I guess.
Well, and a lot of the scenes feel really inserted after the fact. Like you can see how the story was scripted originally, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, we need to insert." Notice the art on the scene where Miss Marvel is like climbing the steps to her house. There's like this weird her leg, like, and it makes no sense that she would have stretched the back leg. And I don't have my tablet here. I'd pull up the panel because it really frustrated me.
It's definitely weird because, like, yes, that technically is her power, but why
would she do it?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that. I'll admit I was fascinated by the art of like Kamala herself, like her face was really pretty. That one panel, you know the one I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
This was
like,
also
okay.
the most like this was the least whitewashed appearance we've had in a while for her.
There we go.
She looked like a brown Muslim girl, and I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
good. But that is, and I was also fascinated by Secretary Emma Frost. I was like, wow.
Yeah. It was a nice a nice disguise. I appreciated it. It was a nice kind of throwback.
I wouldn't look at her and be like, that's Emma Frost, you know. So I get it. She did her job.
So speaking of Emma and Kamala Khan, I ended up it was I don't know why I was inspired to do it. I think it was because of the appearance in Invisible Iron Man. This week I reread Dark Reign X-Men, and
Mhm.
Emma's like rewriting of people's memories is kind of building off of that when she was Kingpin's kind of fixer, and she was doing that for
Mhm.
him when he was mayor of New York. She was helping him fix people's memories of stuff. But I still feel like it's a really big escalation of her abilities there. That she keeps saying, "I rewrote your parents," but it has to be everyone who was at that funeral that she's rewriting.
I think it has to be all the humans, because if it all the superheroes, I'm sure they
That's
let
fair.
them know about the
Yeah.
resurrection.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, yeah. It's all of the people who weren't either Avengers or X-Men, because
Yeah, because like if you tell, like, I don't know, Tony Stark, like, hey, we found out Kamala's immune, we're resurrecting her, but we're not telling her family to keep her safe.
that's
He
fair.
would be like, I guess Tony might have some, Steve might have some objections, but he would be like, I guess.
Well, and also it's not like Steve has time to have any moral
Yeah,
qualms
yeah,
right now. That's one busy motherfucker.
yeah. He's busy getting almost assassinated.
Like, I'm really
Good for him.
curious if they're just gonna, because JMS has the new Captain America solo starting in like 3 weeks, and I'm wondering if they're literally just gonna have like a bubble. It's like this takes place after Fall of X is over, just so they don't have to deal with the fact he's also running around in Uncanny Avengers. The
I
torture
like how,
scene, yeah,
yeah,
no go.
I like how Stasis is also obsessed with him.
Mhm.
I we saw that once before with I think Stasis or one of the other Essexes that they're really hammering home that all of the Essexes are just obsessed with the Summers family line. For back when Free Comic Book Day happened, all of the like murmurs and rumors of Cyclops being the new leader in the wheelchair started because he clearly fell and
Mm.
snapped his back. I think this was the first issue where I'm starting to like actually buy into the possibility that that's where they're going with the next era. That he's
Yeah, I didn't really buy into it until Stasis's little
he
monologue.
he hammered it home in the monologue, the broken back stuff. I think we're headed there.
I I don't want him to literally become Professor X though.
To me, that's another one of those corny ones, kind of like how
Yeah.
I was pulled out of the Nimrod murder scene because of how cheesy it was. Just for him to, I'm coming down from space to splatter the whole team, and like that's another one that's just cheesy as fuck. Like, oh, by coincidence, he has the exact same disability as his father figure did.
Yeah, I think that's just a little bit too on the nose. Giving him a disability and making him the future leader, that's fine. Just in the wheelchair,
I
really?
I mean, unless
That
they
close of a
can
parallel?
really, I think I agree. Unless they can really get like an A plus top tier scene out of it, where it's just like too
Okay.
perfect. I'll be like, okay, it's worth it.
There are a lot of things I can forgive depending on how it lands.
Yeah.
I could see an issue of Immortal completely turning my opinion around on it because that's
Mhm.
what Immortal X-Men has
Real.
done for so many concepts. But as of now, I'm not a fan.
Yeah,
they can win me over on it.
trepidatious about it at best.
I feel like that's how I feel about all of X-Men 25. I'm just like, I was like a bit, I was slightly disappointed by the gala, but the fallout in this issue, I was like, okay, this is really
Yeah.
good actually.
Completely. But this, I said last week that like that was like the Dugganiest issue. This was my favorite Duggan thing. Like I just love this. This was the best thing he's written in a long time to me. I had so much fun with everything, and it's clear he understands Kitty Pryde and can write like her
Mhm.
in any mood or like he can write her on the ups and the downs, and I love that
And
about
he's
him.
not writing her the way that like Whedon wrote her. Let's
Yes.
say.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting to see like what writers kind of excel when they get to have like a character they really love or understand, and what writers just kind of mess it all up.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
All right. Any final words before we do Astonishing Iceman?
Firestar girl, look out.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Firestar.
Good.
I
good
feel
luck.
like we know Juggernaut's gunning for her, and like, I think Firestar's finally gonna get to shine. Keegan,
yeah,
I'm
very excited.
we complained about that she was way underutilized on the team, and like it seems like he heard our complaints and decided, you know what, we'll throw everything at her. Let's do it.
Like
So
her being, she was, she did not sign up for this, but now here she is.
Yeah.
God bless.
And back on Caselli's art, her anguish in
Mhm.
like having to stand there and tolerate Stasis' speech was drawn really well. Like,
Yeah.
that guy can draw emotion on faces so well.
Yup. The
All right,
art was so good.
Yes, great
Oh.
art all around. Astonishing Iceman #1, written by Steve Orlando, drawn by Vincenzo Caruda. Opens with a montage of public Iceman sightings. We're in the same nebulous several weeks after the Gala time frame. In the Castro, Orcus drones are attacking anyone with X genes, including former users of Experience, the drug that turns you into a mutant temporarily, with the reveal that apparently it was used as a sex thing, because of course it was. Bobby shows up, saves the day in dramatic fashion while showboating. He ends up giving the experienced user a celebratory kiss. Orcus agents are not happy about the Bobby sightings and threaten to bring in someone called the Cleaner. Bobby returns home to his southern pole of inaccessibility base as he literally falls apart. He's met by Clyde, his ice golem Silver Age buddy. A flashback reveals after Nimrod killed him with cellular napalm, his love Romeo managed to carry his vapors to Antarctica, where he was able to re-solidify him with love. Though he can only hold himself together temporarily, and his powers weaken when he leaves, so they have conflict over how far he pushes his heroic antics lately. Orcus then reveals their plan to finally get Bobby to go after his mom. You don't go after someone's mom. That's fucked up.
I had fun with this though. This was a fun issue to me.
This week was a good week for me. I had so much fun all around.
Turning Bobby into Superman. He's got his Fortress of Solitude. He's got his little logo on his chest. They're going after his mother.
Big Clark Kent vibes, absolutely.
Why was this book so horny?
It was okay. Though that it was a horny book.
Okay, was it drawn? Was it drawn? Oh, yeah, this is Orlando. Fox is Dark X-Men. Was this drawn hornier than it was written though? Like, I felt like the celebratory kiss when he saved the dude came off super, super horny. But then, like, once he got home to Romeo, it was all like monogamous love talk. It felt like.
See,
like,
yeah, but
I know the X-Men love polygamy, so I'm cool with it if it meant more. But
but then also Orlando made Experience a sex thing, so
I thought that was funny as hell. Like, I assume it's the same experience. I assume there wasn't two separate experience drugs, so it's really.
I will like this, and it's funny because the book is so horny. But it's also a very good book, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Steve Orlando that I've been talking about that wrote Midnighter. Like,
clearly, you just can't give the guy a team book. Clearly, you just got to give him one guy to write.
You got to give him a very homosexual couple that's very horny. Like, that's how it works. Midnighter and Apollo, Bobby and Romeo, we're good.
I will go down as a Marauders Volume 2 defender, but that's neither here nor there.
You know what? One of these days when we have like a slower week, I do want you to come on and be able to fully defend it, because I wanted to like Marauders Volume 2.
It's good.
I wanted to love it.
Minus the Strife stuff. The rest of it's fine.
Oh, you mean the Strife stuff that they just drop?
Yeah. I mean, I'm always down to see Strife because, like, DM me, but
So you say it's so horny, but it's also incredibly sweet. Like it
No, it's so
manages to
sweet.
be horny, corny, and sweet as fuck, like all rolled into one.
I think
Because
we talked about this for like 2 messages, but being brought back by True Love's Kiss is so cliche,
yeah,
but it is amazing what cliches I will overlook and or love as soon as it's queer.
Well,
well,
not only that, but I feel like it's so Bobby.
yeah,
It's so
It's
Bobby.
it's so Bobby. Like to be brought back by True Love's Case and all that nonsense. Like
Did you see that little smile on his face as soon as he got
exactly.
brought back? I was like, oh, he was
but
loving that.
this was another one where the placement of the flashback was really well done too. I know I
Yes.
talked about this
Mhm.
last book because those pages leaked when we talked about it on Discord. I said like I'm really conflicted. Like, do I like this? Like it
And
seems
that's not how it
sweet, but it's
opened.
also corny. But that wasn't the opening pages. They earned it by giving us like Bobby showboating, and then the scene of him coming into the Ice Palace and interacting with the rebuilt Clyde, which just
And
that warmed my Silver Age like cockles to be like, oh, Clyde's back and he's still wearing the boots. That's cute. And then you get the
uh-huh.
flashback, and like it just felt earned, and it felt like a sweet moment that like yeah, he's still like Romeo is like that guy for him, so
And
he's back.
Romeo being a little bit upset, and then it leading into how yeah he's mad right now, but this is why he's mad is because of how close he was to losing him.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, I wasn't I didn't read Bendis's run, so Romeo's so new to me, but apparently he's
yeah,
new to everybody because he wasn't that big of a character.
yeah. He hasn't been used a ton. Uh, he kind of was a victim of them just deciding when they got the X-Men rights back. Like it was that Toy Story meme of like I don't want to play with you anymore. They ditched everything in Human, and
Yeah.
he was a real victim of that. It was like nah, we're
Yeah,
done. So it is really nice to see him getting utilized, and it's a little cynical that it's like, oh, now that we've got Kamala as the X-Men and the Inhuman, now we're gonna care about the other Inhumans again.
it's
But
so funny.
I'm here for it. I'm here
I'll
for
That's
it.
take
karma,
it.
baby. That's karma for Inhumans versus X-Men.
Yeah.
I will say
Um,
one thing about this book that gave me a lot of hope is I feel very similarly to about it the way that I have felt about Alyssa's Deadpool run, where it's very very fun. I like it a lot. I feel like I don't have a terribly grand amount of deep things to say about it, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
yeah,
It was a really quick issue.
Yeah.
It flew
yeah.
by, but in a really fun way. I feel like it is a comic that won't lend itself probably to a ton of conversation, like you're saying, Keegan, but
I
it's
feel like it's gonna
exactly
be
the
the
kind of thing I
fun
want to
one
read. Absolutely.
Yes.
of the
It's
month.
always going to
Because
be like the bright spot in the week if we have to keep dealing with bad minis and stuff like that.
And I'm happy. Like I love all of the Fall of X books have set endpoints. These are all 5 or 6 issue minis, and I love that about them. All right, Magneto #1.
I'm
I
ready.
cried.
Written by J.M. Dematteis, drawn by Todd Nauck, opens with a classic New Mutants training session in the early era of Magneto as headmaster. After the 8-page Danger Room exercise, the meat of the book comes from Magneto teaching them that the Silver Age villains were not losers and instead people who had been disfranchised and abused their whole lives. The kids rebuke the lesson because of the pain he's caused, and that causes him to self-reflect. He catches Rain studying late into the night, trying to square the two versions of Magneto, the campy villain and the rugged anti-hero. Now because we're still flashing back, but flashback reveals that in fact from the very first issue of X-Men the role of Magneto was an act, that he played up this villainous role to push Charles and the teenage heroes that he created, trying to give birth to this idea of mutants as heroes. The only reason that he took it so far was his own mental health struggles dealing with trauma he went through. After this flashback, a woman in Magneto style armor attacks the mansion, loads Magneto into an ominous machine, and welcomes everyone to Ire, Queen of the Wraith's new Sisterhood of the Evil Mutants. First off, we can talk about the good, because I feel like the meat of the conversation is going to be about retconning the entire existence of X-Men in the middle of an issue of Throwback, which is odd to me. But I did have a lot of fun with this, and I really, 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 really dug the design of the new character. She looks badass as fuck. And
It was really good.
Okay, let's go there. Todd Nauck drawing the New Mutants. The whole Danger Room scene was just a beautiful like exercise in nostalgia art. That all nostalgia art should look that good.
First of all, the art so cute, so good. That one, the page of like all 10 of the New Mutants just like looking down at, or you know the one where they're all there. Oh,
Yeah.
so, my babies. They're such a solid cast. Like
Definitely.
Claremont really nailed it with them. And one spot, my Afro Latino King, we will get you colored correctly in a current issue soon. This was good. The coloring was so good. Can we get this in X-Men Red?
Okay. Big brain moment. Mars is further from the sun. He's getting less of a tan.
Is it a tan or is that just his skin color?
Yeah, no, they're just whitewashing him. I just had to make the joke.
I don't know if it's a sign. I think his skin just does that.
I think
it was just a terrible joke. Just a terrible joke.
Tan. A Latino. I tan. Okay. Is it kind of weird to retcon X-Men #1 in Magneto #1 2023? Yes. Is it a good retcon in my opinion? Yeah.
I'm so
Making
conflicted.
It a performance that he sort of got too into, and that eventually got snapped out of in like, what was it, 150 to 199-ish?
Yeah, it was somewhere almost. Yeah, it was before 200
that,
for
like,
sure. Yeah.
It like when he thought he killed Kitty, and then the trial in Uncanny, that whole arc.
Yeah.
Making like that because of how, like you said it, his trauma. He got too into it because of his trauma. That originally it started because I read X-Men #1 like a month or two ago. And I was like, damn, this is corny as hell. so the inner monologue it showed him having, like, he was playing it up. He was hamming it up on purpose.
Oh yeah, no, and you know what? I loved that the retcon also involved Todd Nauck getting to draw tribute art to the very first issue because that looked really cool. Like it looked gorgeous.
Really cool.
It was really pretty.
I feel like on its own, I like the concept of the retcon, but I'm really curious how they land it because it does recontextualize so much of the other like flashbacks we've gotten over the years and like the various soul searching moments we've seen from him in ways that I'm more invested in this mini than any of the others because I want to see if Dematteis can kind of land it. I guess. Faith. Like, it's so interesting to me that, like, it is a ballsy-ass move. Like I said, in the middle of the issue, like, it doesn't even feel like it's the core narrative of the issue. Like, it's really about the new Magneto protege that he doesn't remember showing up to restart the Brotherhood of Mutants as the Sisterhood. But it also, like, it's a big deal. Retconning a Stan Lee issue, it takes balls, so I'm very interested.
Yeah.
I'm very.
I haven't
interested.
read most of the Silver Age stuff, so
it's not good till Claremont shows up, really. But it's influential. It's important, so it's interesting to me. I'm conflicted.
No.
I'm not really confident in my take, but I definitely it was a bold move.
I have faith. I am an eternal optimist, and I think this is going to end well.
I think my take on it is pretty similar. Like, I think it's a cool idea. It's really gonna depend on if they can stick the landing on if it ends up being a good idea or not. But I'm hopeful. You know,
separate it from the retcon of it all.
Separate from the retcon, I enjoyed it more than most of the throwbacks. I had a lot of fun with it.
The inner monologue not emotional as hell that he had, that whole fight sequence flashback that he had?
I mean, this is easily my favorite of the flashbacks. Like, I think I can pretty confidently say that.
No, it's definitely mine, and I was a big defender of Storm, but this was better than Storm 1. This is the best. I'm enjoying it still too, but this was the best.
This is better.
First issue for sure. The timing of the retcon is interesting to me because there is all that speculation of is Charles going to revive a more ruthless, like younger Magneto, and in a way that this might contradict like his ability to do that if he never really was that more ruthless version of himself, or I don't know, or maybe this lends to it because like he's more agreeable than he was more agreeable than we realized. Maybe, I don't know.
Thinking about it a bit though, Polaris is bipolar. She has bipolar disorder.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be too crazy to be like, oh, this sort of triggered a bipolar episode in him, you know?
completely.
Yeah,
Like the act, sort of.
You might have just nailed what they're gonna kind of unpack through the next 4 issues. I could 100% see them being like, oh yeah, it's genetic. Like we should have seen this coming, but he is bipolar too.
I think it does run in the family, right?
Like, it usually does. Yeah, no,
specifically, but yeah, it's
in real life. Bipolar disorder is genetic. It's tied to genes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like.
All right. Any final thoughts on Magneto numero uno?
I miss my dad. Bring him back.
Yeah.
It's been 6 months.
Hey.
How long has it been?
Oh,
we need to hurry up and go around the Marvel Universe because we got to talk Scarlet Witch.
No.
You ready? We're going around the Marvel Universe talking about Scarlet Witch number 7. Joseph's back, who is a version of Magneto.
My thoughts on Joseph.
Did you read this, Keegan?
No, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, I could read Scarlet Witch, or I could read a chapter of Lightbringer and let Rod tell me about Scarlet Witch.
All right, recap. Issue 5 ended with a post-credit scene revealing Magneto living in a cave, and he had like a faint scar on his neck. So everyone was like, "Oh, it's Joseph," but he thinks he's Magneto. Last issue ended with him showing up at Scarlet Witch's house with a much more prominent view of the scar, so it was clearly him. But she goes, "Dad,"
and that's
the end of 6.
Wasn't Darcy also like, "Hey, or am I?"
I don't think she said that, but then like that the issues always end with like Darcy's notes, and in Darcy's notes she references. So it wasn't Magneto. It was that really crazy clone of his that got beheaded. So then this issue opens, and we get 3 pages of kind of an emotional, like, because she thinks she sees her dad, and then she realizes that it's Joseph, and they have a little back and forth, and we find out that he was brought back by Krakoa, which is an interesting revelation, and then she gets called away for the rest of the issue, and it ends up being just another tease of, hey guys, eventually we're gonna deal with this Joseph thing, but not this issue. And the rest of the issue had nothing to do with Magneto. I only got more than a single page of him. We got 3 pages of him. Everything I said nice about Orlando earlier, I feel the exact opposite about what's going on with Scarlet Witch, which is a beautifully drawn book with Sarah Pacelli art that is absolutely fantastic. But
this is true.
The plots are just killing me. It's basically her and Darcy going on weird random adventures every issue.
My theory might hold up. Maybe Scarlet Witch is not horny enough for Steve Orlando to be good at it.
Who's Darcy?
Kat Dennings from the Marvel.
The 4 movies. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That is how heavy this book is.
Darcy
MCU
Lewis.
I see.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah. Like they didn't even really give context in the first issue, like good context. They hand wave it away of like why she's suddenly best friends with Scarlet Witch, and like they're a duo now. I don't think she did before this. She might have had tiny appearances, but this is her first starring role as Scarlet Witch's sidekick.
So the line, right? The line is like Darcy is in the Thor movies. Darcy is in WandaVision. Darcy is in the Scarlet Witch comic.
I like Kat Dennings.
Yeah, Kat Dennings is great.
The dynamic in the comic is humorous. Like I don't like. It's not one I truly hate read. Like I hate it, and it's or I read it and it's fine. It's not a bad comic. It just it keeps. Like I feel like it bait and switches so often with this. Oh, it's gonna be like X-Men relevant, and it's out of the Avengers editorial, so I shouldn't be expecting it to be relevant. but it drives me insane almost every month. The best thing it had was a backup story that wasn't, I think it was written by Stephanie Phillips, maybe. It was not written by Steve Orlando. That was a Storm backup, where Storm and the Scarlet
Right.
Witch basically explored their powers together. That was a great little mini story that had nothing to do with the rest of the
I
Scarlet
heard
Witch
about
series so
that
far.
on this podcast because I listened.
Ah,
Hey! Did either of you
Uh,
read the Amazing Spider-Man annual?
No,
Okay.
Meg did, I think.
Yeah, it
One thought on
yeah,
Scarlet
Scarlet Witch, sure.
Joseph, DM me.
So
That is all.
you keep calling Magneto Daddy, and I feel like it makes it weird that you want a younger version of Daddy. I feel like it's gonna be Daddy Insecure when Daddy comes back.
Listen,
Have you ever heard of Paris?
Amazing Spider-Man annual, kind of sort of takes place during Fall of X, so
Keegan, you okay?
yeah,
Other-
I'm good. I'm back.
other comics are apparently taking place during Fall of X, so we got that going. And you guys ready to talk next week?
Yeah, let's talk
Yeah.
next week.
Next week we get Children of the Vault #1, the one that the Forge page teased. We had Ghost Rider Wolverine Weapons of Vengeance Alpha #1,
Ooh.
which is the lead off to the solely written by Benjamin Percy crossover event. So it's going to be some really friendly chats, very very happy conversations, I'm sure. And then Immortal X-Men 14, which is the Chuck
Woo.
alone on the island in his rage. So that should be really fucking good, I think. So I'm really excited about that.
Opposite vibes.
I'm so excited for 14 as opposed to Ghost Rider Wolverine Weapons of Vengeance Alpha #1.
Children of the Vault, I wouldn't say is one of my most anticipated of fall, but it's probably the most curious. Like I'm really curious to see if it can pull off what it's trying to do. So that should be fun.
Here's the reason why I'm excited for it. It might have a lot to do with my boy Forge, and therefore
That's true.
I am excited.
Oh, okay. I one of the episodes I listened to, I think it's the one from right before this 5-episode drop.
Yeah.
You guys ranked X Daddies, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I feel like you missed 3 key figures.
Okay.
Forge.
I'm surprised
Forearm.
Keegan didn't mention Forge.
Forearm.
Okay.
And Joseph.
Yeah, I mean, you could say we just rolled Joseph into Magneto, but honestly, I wasn't thinking about him. I'll
That's
fully
fair.
admit I
The
did not
long
think of
hair,
Joseph.
sometimes it hits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
I can give you that.
I
Yeah.
think I think the psychopath aspect just
I
maybe that's just my personal kinks. I don't have a thing for it, but maybe it's you could be a psychopath and a daddy.
I could fix him. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, and you know what? I understand. I understand the need.
All right, Lance.
me
I
3
feel like
days
that
alone
that
in
is
a house
that is
with
the
him.
perfect point for you to give us your plugs. Like, where can people follow you if we want to hear more about the X Daddies?
You could join this wonderful little server I'm part of.
Oh,
Man, you guys rock it with these plugs. Always plugging our own Discord. Are you on the X? Are you on the Insta? Like, where are you in the rest of the social media realm?
I don't use Instagram. I don't use TikTok. I'm on Twitter. Yeah, at Lance Flyer.
Let's get it right.
X.
You're on X.
I have auto updates off, so I'm still
so you're still on Twitter.
You get to keep the
It's still
bird.
blue.
Nice.
It's still blue for me, baby.
You lucky.
At Lance Flyer, because that's my favorite unit type in Fire Emblem.
Oh!
I caught that reference, Keegan. I recognized it.
A nice little Pegasus, Wyvern Rider.
Yes.
Always slaps.
Oh my god. Yes, the absolute best unit type. Oh my god.
See? And what do I post on there? Mainly nonsense. Occasionally, like every Wednesday, my little X-Men takes, I guess.
Nonsense is good.
Love some nonsense.
We really
That's about
appreciate you
it.
being here. This was a lot of fun. We'll definitely
Yeah, this was a super fun record.
we'll get you back
Yeah, I had
on.
fun.
Keegan,
Yeah.
any late breaking news, gossip, anything we need to talk about before we wrap this up?
This just in, Lightbringer is very good. It has nothing to do with the X-Men, but it's all I've been thinking about. Okay, there we go.
I have ordered a copy of Red Rising to be transferred to my store.
Yes! More join my cause!
I was just gonna say, you know what? We've been fishing for X Riders like interviews, but I feel like you should be able to get us. You've now sold at least 2 copies of this series. You personally,
Don't do that.
because
Don't give me hope.
our broken mod, the broken record, Owen has also bought a copy of this book because of you.
And he loved it because I was right. And his favorite character is my favorite character.
So what I'm hearing is we have to recruit.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, and if we are plugging non-X related things that we love, if you haven't pre-ordered Transformers #1 by Daniel Lawrence Johnson, make sure you pre-order that. If you're not following like single issues of non-X books, that's the one you need to get. So that's our other message to you guys. We'll see you next time. This is gonna come out on time for once,
Holy shit.
but newborn life is still crazy. Keegan is teaching. My wife starts teaching. My 4-year-old starts transitional kindergarten. There's a really good chance that we are going to be slipping again. And when we slip, you guys just catch us when we fall. I'm that Nerdy Papa Bear on all of the socials except for X, where I'm just Nerdy Papa Bear. Keegan is Bulk Ranger. Until next time, look, Steve Orlando, bring it in. Come on, dude, just fucking give us Joseph. Just give him to us. I'm so tired of the teases.